Before you step into this Tuesday, the 11th of August, take a moment and remember this. God already knows every need, every bill, every burden, and every financial concern you're carrying. You may not see the answer yet, but God is not unaware of your situation. Today, we're going to pray with faith, trusting that He is our provider and that nothing is impossible for Him. If you've been worried about finances, waiting for an opportunity, believing for a breakthrough, or simply asking God to make a way where there seems to be no way, this prayer is for you. Let go of the fear that has been keeping you awake and replace it with faith that says, God, I trust you to provide every need according to your will. As we pray, don't just listen to these words, pray them from your heart. Believe that God can open doors you never expected, provide through ways you never imagined, and give you wisdom to manage what He places in your hands. Today, we are choosing faith over fear, trust over anxiety, and hope over discouragement. And before we begin, if you believe God is able to provide for you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel for daily prayer. Then write Amen in the comments as an act of faith. And also comment one thing you're believing God for today. Whether it's financial provision, a new opportunity, a debt breakthrough, a job, or simply peace concerning your future. Now, take a deep breath, quiet your heart, and prepare to pray. Tuesday, the 11th of August, is not a day you have to face alone. Your Heavenly Father knows what you need before you ask, and today we place every financial concern into His hands. Let's pray with confidence, believing that God is our provider, our source, and the one who can make a way where there seems to be no way. Take a deep breath and allow your heart to become still for a moment. As this new day begins, remind yourself of one simple truth. God is your ultimate provider, not your job, not your bank account, not another person, not the circumstances around you. God is your source, and when you place your trust in Him, you are choosing to believe that your life is held by hands greater than your own. There may be moments when you look at your finances and feel uncertain about the future. You may have responsibilities that seem larger than your resources. You may have bills waiting, needs that must be met, plans that require provision, or dreams that seem impossible because you cannot see how the money will come. Perhaps you have prayed about the same situation many times, and you are wondering when something will finally change. But today, instead of allowing fear to control your thoughts, take a quiet moment and say within your heart, God, I trust you to provide for me. Trusting God does not mean pretending that your problems do not exist. It means refusing to allow those problems to become greater in your heart than your faith in God. You can acknowledge what you need while still believing that God is able to meet that need. You can look at your circumstances honestly, without allowing them to convince you that there is no hope. Your situation may be difficult, but your situation is not bigger than your God. Sometimes we make the mistake of believing that provision must come in the exact way we expect. We imagine one specific door opening, one specific person helping us, one specific opportunity appearing, or one specific amount of money arriving. But God is not limited to the methods we can imagine. He can create opportunities where you see none. He can give you wisdom that changes your financial decisions. He can connect you with the right people. He can open a door that you never knew existed. He can give you an idea, a skill, an opportunity, or a direction that changes the path ahead of you. So today, do not tell God how He must provide. Simply bring your need before Him and trust His wisdom. Say, Father, you know what I need. You know what I am facing. You know what I cannot see. Lead me, guide me, and provide for me according to your will. There is something peaceful about realizing that you do not have to carry everything by yourself. You were never designed to know every answer before taking the next step. You do not have to understand the entire journey today. You only need enough faith to take the next step with God. Maybe your financial situation has caused you to feel embarrassed. Maybe you have compared yourself with people who seem to have more than you. You see others buying things, building businesses, traveling, succeeding, and moving forward, while you are trying to figure out how to make everything work. But comparison can steal your peace. God has not called you to live someone else's story. Your journey is your journey, and your timing is not someone else's timing. Do not measure God's goodness by what someone else possesses. Do not assume that because another person has received something before you, God has forgotten you. Your Father knows your needs. He knows your circumstances. He knows the desires of your heart. And He knows what is truly good for you. Sometimes what feels like a delay may actually be preparation. Sometimes a closed door protects you from something you cannot see. Sometimes God is developing your character, teaching you patience, giving you wisdom, or preparing you for a responsibility that requires maturity. While you are waiting for provision, God may also be preparing you to handle the provision when it comes. So instead of asking only, "When will God provide?" begin asking, "Lord, what are you teaching me in this season?" Give God your worries about money. Give Him the thoughts that keep repeating in your mind. Give Him the fear of tomorrow. Give Him the pressure you feel when you look at your expenses. Give Him the uncertainty about your future. You do not have to hide these feelings from Him. You can bring them honestly into prayer. Say, "God, I am concerned, but I choose to trust you. I do not know how everything will work out, but you do. I cannot see the whole picture, but you can. I cannot control tomorrow, but you are already there." There is power in that kind of trust. When you trust God as your provider, your circumstances may not immediately change, but something begins to change inside you. Anxiety begins to lose its grip. Fear begins to become quieter. Your mind becomes clearer. You begin to make decisions from faith instead of panic. You stop reacting to every problem, as though everything depends entirely on you. This does not mean you stop working. It does not mean you stop planning. It does not mean you ignore your responsibilities. Trusting God means you work while trusting Him. You plan while trusting Him. You save while trusting Him. You make wise decisions while trusting Him. You pursue opportunities while trusting Him. You use the abilities He has given you while remembering that your ultimate source is still Him. God can bless the work of your hands. He can give you wisdom to recognize opportunities. He can help you become disciplined with what you already have. He can teach you to manage small things faithfully. Sometimes financial breakthrough begins not with receiving more, but with learning how to steward what is already in your hands. Maybe today you need to ask God for wisdom before you ask Him for wealth. Maybe you need direction before you need increase. Maybe you need discipline before you need more resources. Maybe you need courage to take a step you have been avoiding. Maybe you need to stop allowing fear to convince you that nothing will ever change. Whatever your need is today, bring it to God. If you need a job, trust Him while you apply. If you need a business opportunity, trust Him while you build. If you are facing debt, trust Him while you make responsible choices. If you are waiting for an answer, trust Him while you wait. If you are unsure about your next step, ask Him for wisdom and remain attentive to His direction. Do not underestimate the value of small beginnings. A small opportunity can become something significant. A simple idea can become a source of income. One conversation can lead to a new connection. One decision can change your direction. One step of obedience can lead you into a place you never imagined. And while you wait, protect your peace. Do not allow every financial headline, every unexpected expense, or every negative thought to determine your emotional state. Your peace does not have to depend on your bank balance. Your identity does not come from your possessions. Your worth is not determined by how much money you have. You are more than your financial situation. You are not a failure because you are going through a difficult season. You are not forgotten because you are waiting. You are not abandoned because the answer has not appeared yet. There are seasons of abundance and seasons of stretching. There are moments when everything seems to move quickly, and moments when progress feels painfully slow. But through every season, God remains God. So this morning, place your finances into His hands. Say, "Father, I surrender my financial worries to you. I surrender the fear of not having enough. I surrender the pressure of trying to figure everything out by myself. Teach me to trust you. Give me wisdom. Give me discipline. Give me courage. Give me favor. Give me opportunities. Bless the work of my hands, and help me recognize the doors you open." Then become quiet. Allow yourself to believe that you are not facing this day alone. You may not know where the provision will come from, but you know the one who holds your future. You may not see the answer yet, but you can still choose faith. You may not have everything you want today, but you can be grateful for what you have while trusting God for what you need. Let your first thought this morning be faith instead of fear. Before you check your phone, before you think about your bills, before you begin calculating everything that needs to be done, remind yourself that God is your source. Your responsibility is to be faithful with what is in front of you. His responsibility is to remain God. So walk into this Tuesday with a calm heart. When fear says, "What if there is not enough?" answer with faith, "God knows what I need." When anxiety says, "How will I survive this?" answer, "God will give me wisdom for today." When discouragement says, "Nothing is going to change," answer, "My circumstances can change and God can make a way." When doubt says, "You are alone," answer, "I am not alone. God is with me." And when you feel tempted to panic about tomorrow, gently bring your heart back to today. You have today. You have breath in your lungs. You have another opportunity to pray, to work, to learn, to grow, to make wise decisions, and to trust. Take this day one step at a time. Trust God with the need you cannot solve. Trust Him with the door you cannot open. Trust Him with the opportunity you cannot create. Trust Him with the future you cannot see. Trust Him with the provision you are waiting for. And as you move through this day, let this truth remain quietly in your heart. You are not responsible for controlling every outcome. You are responsible for trusting God, following His direction, and faithfully doing what is in your hands today, while believing that the God who knows every need is able to provide in ways beyond what you can currently see, imagine, or understand. Take a slow breath and allow yourself to become still. There may be things on your mind this morning that you cannot easily explain to anyone else. Financial pressure can become very heavy when you carry it silently. A bill arrives, an unexpected expense appears. A payment is due, or you look at your resources and wonder how everything will work out. In those moments, fear can begin speaking loudly. But today, you can choose not to let fear control your heart. You can acknowledge the situation without allowing the situation to steal your peace. Financial fear often begins with one simple question. What if there is not enough? What if I cannot pay this? What if another expense comes? What if the opportunity I need never appears? What if things become worse? What if I make the wrong decision? These questions can repeat themselves again and again until your mind becomes exhausted. But worry does not create provision. Fear does not add wisdom. Anxiety does not give you control over tomorrow. It only takes the peace you have today. So this morning, give yourself permission to release that fear. You do not have to solve your entire financial future in one morning. You do not have to know every answer before you take your next step. You do not have to carry tomorrow's responsibilities with today's strength. God gives you grace for today, wisdom for today, and strength for today. Tell yourself quietly, I will not allow fear to decide what I believe. Your circumstances may be real, but they are not the final authority over your peace. Your bank balance may show one number. Your bills may show another number, and your responsibilities may seem overwhelming. But none of those things determine whether God is present with you. God sees what you see, and He also sees what you cannot see. Sometimes fear makes a problem look bigger than it really is, because fear only looks at what is visible. Faith looks beyond what is visible. Fear says, there is no way. Faith says, I may not see the way yet, but God can lead me. That does not mean you ignore reality. It means you face reality with a different heart. If you have bills, deal with them wisely. If you have debts, make a plan. If you need employment, keep searching. If you need to improve your skills, keep learning. If you need to change your spending habits, make the change. But do all of these things without allowing panic to become your guide. Panic can make you rush into decisions that create even more problems. Fear can cause you to accept things you should carefully consider. Anxiety can make you believe that you have to act immediately, even when you need time to think and pray. Peace allows you to slow down enough to hear clearly, think wisely, and make decisions with understanding. There is strength in saying, I am concerned, but I will not panic. There is strength in saying, I have a financial challenge, but I will not let this challenge define my future. There is strength in saying, I do not know exactly how this will work out, but I will take the next wise step. Perhaps you have been carrying financial anxiety for so long that it has become part of your daily routine. You wake up thinking about money. You go to sleep thinking about money. You calculate expenses in your mind while trying to rest. You imagine conversations about payments. You wonder whether the next opportunity will come. You compare your current situation with where you thought you would be by now. But today, you can interrupt that cycle. When those thoughts begin to rise, pause. Take a breath. Pray. Instead of allowing your mind to run through every possible disaster, bring one concern at a time before God. Lord, I am worried about this bill. Lord, I need wisdom about this decision. Lord, I am waiting for work. Lord, I need provision for my family. Lord, I am afraid of what tomorrow may bring. You do not need impressive words. You do not need a perfect prayer. God already knows what is in your heart. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is simply, God, help me trust you. That small prayer can become a turning point in your morning. When you release financial fear, you are not saying that your needs do not matter. You are saying that your needs do not have to control your mind. You are placing them into the hands of the one who understands the entire picture. Imagine carrying a heavy bag all day, when someone beside you is willing to carry it with you. You continue carrying it because you are afraid to let go. You think that if you release it, everything will fall apart. But when you finally place it down, you discover that you were never meant to carry that weight alone. That is what surrender can feel like. You say, God, I cannot control every outcome. I cannot predict every expense. I cannot force every opportunity. I cannot guarantee what tomorrow will bring. But I can trust you today. Let that truth settle into your heart. You may have made financial mistakes in the past. Maybe you spent when you should have saved. Maybe you trusted the wrong person. Maybe an investment did not work out. Maybe a business failed. Maybe a job ended unexpectedly. Maybe circumstances beyond your control changed everything. Do not allow yesterday's mistakes to become tomorrow's identity. Learn from what happened, but do not live permanently inside the regret. God can give you wisdom from your past without requiring you to remain trapped in it. You can become more careful. You can become more disciplined. You can make better decisions. You can rebuild slowly. You can begin again. A difficult financial season does not mean your story is finished. Sometimes you may look around and wonder why everyone else seems to be moving forward while you are struggling to keep up. But comparison creates another kind of fear. It makes you believe you are behind. It makes you question your worth. It makes you feel as though you should have achieved more by now. Release that pressure. You do not need to prove your life to anyone. You do not need to compete with someone else's timeline. You do not need to measure your progress by another person's possessions. God can lead you according to your own journey. Maybe your breakthrough will come differently than you expected. Maybe it will begin with a small opportunity. Maybe it will begin with a change in your habits. Maybe it will begin with a conversation, a new skill, a new responsibility, a new idea, or a door that appears at exactly the right moment. Do not reject small beginnings because you were expecting something dramatic. Sometimes peace comes before provision. Sometimes wisdom comes before increase. Sometimes discipline comes before abundance. Sometimes preparation comes before opportunity. And sometimes God uses the waiting season to strengthen you for what you have been praying for. So while you wait, do not waste your peace. You can still smile. You can still be grateful. You can still enjoy your family. You can still appreciate the morning. You can still thank God for the things money cannot buy. A peaceful heart is not proof that you have no problems. It is proof that your problems do not own you. When financial anxiety tries to enter your mind today, gently respond with truth. I will not panic. I will not assume the worst. I will not allow one difficult moment to define my entire future. I will seek wisdom. I will do what I can. I will trust God with what I cannot control. And when you feel overwhelmed by the amount of work ahead, remember that you do not have to climb the entire mountain today. Take one step. Make one call. Sort one application. Review one expense. Learn one useful skill. Decorate one plan. Have one honest conversation. Pray one sincere prayer. Take one faithful step. Small steps taken consistently can create significant change over time. Most importantly, do not let financial pressure convince you that you are abandoned. You may be waiting, but you are not forgotten. You may be struggling, but you are not without hope. You may not know what tomorrow holds, but you can place tomorrow in God's hands. Let this morning be a moment of release. Release the fear of not having enough. Release the fear of what people think. Release the fear of failure. Release the fear of tomorrow. Release the constant need to know exactly how everything will happen. Give God the questions you cannot answer. Give Him the situations you cannot control. Give Him the financial concerns that have been occupying your thoughts. Then ask for something deeper than money alone. Ask for wisdom. Ask for discipline. Ask for peace. Ask for discernment. Ask for courage. Ask for patience. Ask for the ability to recognize the opportunities placed before you. Ask for the strength to do what is necessary, without allowing fear to control your decisions. And whenever anxiety begins whispering that you will never make it through, bring your heart back to faith. You do not need to know the entire path. You only need to know the next step. You do not need to have every resource today. You need to be faithful with what is in your hands today. You do not need to control every outcome. You need to trust God with the outcomes you cannot control. You do not need to carry tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. You can breathe, pray, think clearly, and walk forward today. Take a slow breath and allow your heart to become quiet for a moment. As you begin this day, open your mind to the possibility that God may bring opportunities into your life that you have not yet imagined. You may be praying for a financial breakthrough right now, asking God to open a door, provide an opportunity, bring the right connection, or make a way where you cannot see one. You may not know where the answer will come from, but you can believe that God is able to create opportunities beyond what your eyes can currently see. Sometimes we think a breakthrough must arrive in one dramatic moment. We imagine receiving a large amount of money, getting the perfect job, finding a major business opportunity, or suddenly seeing every financial problem disappear. But God can work through small beginnings. A conversation can lead to an opportunity. A simple idea can become a source of income. A skill you already possess can become useful in a new way. Someone you meet today may know something that changes your direction. A door that looks ordinary at first may eventually lead somewhere significant. That is why you should not overlook the small things. Pay attention to the opportunities around you. Pay attention to ideas that come to your mind. Pay attention to people God places in your path. Pay attention to skills you can develop. Pay attention to doors that open naturally. Pay attention to wisdom that brings clarity to a decision you have been struggling with. Your breakthrough may not look exactly like what you expected. Sometimes we pray, God, change my circumstances, while God begins by changing our perspective. We ask Him to give us more, while He teaches us how to use what we already have. We ask Him to open a door, while He prepares us to walk through it. We ask Him for financial increase, while He gives us wisdom, discipline, patience, and courage. Do not underestimate preparation. There are things God may be developing in you right now that will become important later. The discipline you are learning today may protect tomorrow's blessing. The patience you are developing today may help you handle tomorrow's opportunity. The wisdom you gain from a difficult season may prevent you from repeating an old mistake. So do not think that nothing is happening, simply because you cannot see immediate results. Growth can happen quietly. Preparation can happen quietly. Provision can begin quietly. A seed does not look like a tree when it is first planted, but something is already happening beneath the surface. Your current situation may feel like a small beginning, but you do not know what God can do with it. Maybe you have been asking God for a better job. Continue believing, but also prepare yourself for the opportunity. Improve your skills. Update your experience. Reach out to people. Apply for positions. Learn something new. Pray for wisdom about where to look and how to present yourself. Let faith and action walk together. Maybe you are believing for a business breakthrough. Ask God for creativity and understanding. Study your field. Listen to your customers. Learn from your mistakes. Start where you are. You do not need everything perfectly arranged before you take the first step. Maybe you are struggling with debt. Ask God for wisdom and discipline. Look carefully at your spending. Create a realistic plan. Take one step at a time. Do not allow the size of the debt to convince you that progress is impossible. One responsible decision today can become part of a much larger change over time. Maybe you have been waiting for someone to help you. Keep your heart open, but do not place your entire future in the hands of one person. God can provide through many different channels. He can give you strength to do something yourself. He can introduce you to someone new. He can give you an idea. He can open an unexpected door. He can redirect you toward something better than what you originally requested. This is why faith requires flexibility. You can tell God what you desire, but remain open to how He chooses to lead you. You may say, "Lord, I would love for this particular door to open, but if there is a better door, give me the wisdom to recognize it." That is a powerful prayer, because sometimes we become so focused on one answer that we fail to notice another opportunity standing nearby. You may be waiting for one specific employer, while another opportunity is being prepared. You may be waiting for one person to respond, while another connection could be more valuable. You may be waiting for one business idea to work, while another idea is quietly developing within you. You may be asking God to restore something from your past, while He is preparing something new for your future. Do not become so attached to one method that you miss the provision God brings through another. Ask for eyes to recognize opportunity. Ask for ears to recognize wisdom. Ask for courage to act when the right door appears. And ask for discernment to recognize doors that should remain closed. Not every opportunity is a blessing. Some opportunities may look attractive, but carry consequences you cannot see. Some offers may promise quick money, but require you to compromise your values. Some relationships may appear helpful, but lead you away from wisdom. Some decisions may produce immediate gain, but create long-term problems. That is why financial breakthrough should never be separated from wisdom. You do not need every opportunity. You need the right opportunities. You do not need every open door. You need the doors that align with what is good, wise, and right for your life. So while you are praying for increase, also pray for discernment. God, if this opportunity is right for me, give me clarity. If it is not right, give me the courage to walk away. If there is something better, help me recognize it. Protect me from decisions made out of desperation. Help me choose wisdom over impatience. Financial pressure can make people desperate. When someone is desperate, even a dangerous opportunity can look attractive. That is why peace matters. When your heart is calm, you can think clearly. When your mind is not controlled by panic, you can ask better questions. When you are not desperate to prove something, you can walk away from something that is not right. Trusting God allows you to wait when necessary and move when necessary. There is a time to wait. There is a time to prepare. There is a time to act. There is a time to say yes. There is a time to say no. And there is wisdom in learning the difference. Today, perhaps God is already placing something in front of you. Maybe it is an idea you have been ignoring. Maybe it is a skill you need to develop. Maybe it is a person you need to contact. Maybe it is an opportunity you need to investigate. Maybe it is a habit you need to change. Maybe it is a step you have been afraid to take. Do not immediately dismiss something simply because it looks small. David did not look at a stone and see a weapon capable of changing a battle. A small thing in the hands of someone willing to use it can become significant. You may have something in your hands right now that you have been overlooking: your experience, your creativity, your knowledge, your ability to communicate, your willingness to work, your ability to learn, your relationships, your time, your ideas, your talents, your story. Ask God to show you how to use what you already have. Sometimes we spend so much time asking for something new that we forget to ask God how to use what is already available. Maybe the breakthrough begins with better stewardship. Maybe it begins with learning. Maybe it begins with courage. Maybe it begins with changing one habit. Maybe it begins with saying yes to something you previously avoided because you were afraid of failure. Do not let fear make decisions for you. You may have failed before. You may have tried something that did not work. You may have trusted an opportunity that turned out badly. But failure is not always evidence that you should stop. Sometimes it is information that helps you become wiser. Learn, adjust, pray, try again when appropriate. Move forward with greater understanding. You do not have to repeat the same mistake simply because you made it once. God can use even difficult experiences to teach you something valuable. And as you move through this day, remain attentive. The answer to your prayer may not arrive with a dramatic announcement. It may arrive as a phone call, an email, a conversation, an idea, an introduction, a new responsibility, a new client, a new skill, a new perspective, a small opportunity that grows with time, a door that opens when you least expect it. So instead of waking up today only asking, "Where is my breakthrough?" ask, "Lord, help me recognize what you are placing in front of me." Walk through your day with expectation, not anxiety. Expect God to give you wisdom. Expect Him to guide your decisions. Expect Him to help you recognize opportunities. Expect Him to teach you what you need to learn. Expect Him to give you courage when the next step requires faith. And when an opportunity appears, do not immediately ask whether it is big enough to change your life. Ask whether it is a wise step worth taking. Ask whether it aligns with your values. Ask whether it allows you to grow. Ask whether it uses the gifts and abilities God has placed within you. Ask whether you have peace about moving forward. Ask whether you have done the necessary preparation. Ask whether this is an opportunity to be faithful with what has already been placed in your hands. And continue praying with an open heart, because God can bring financial breakthrough through ways you have never considered, through opportunities you never planned for, through connections you never expected, through skills you have not yet discovered, through ideas that seem small today, and through doors that may be opening quietly while you are still asking Him to make a way.